As you are quite aware, Mr. Speaker, sir, we have critical issue in terms of employment in our county. Our youths are yearning to get employment. And sorry. And Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm really worried about the trend of unemployment in our county. My colleagues will bear me witness that immediately you are elected, possibly you have a pile of application papers that you've been brought by the youthful population that we have, which is actually quite worrying. Each and every youth is telling you to look for an opportunity for employment. And to me, it's kind of this issue on employment should be even addressed much more. I would really have wanted the governor to address on issues on how to create formal and informal employment. One other issue that I've also admired in this speech is about the consolidated bursaries. We want to be grateful for the bursaries that are available. But then unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, sir, the amount that is actually allocated for the bursaries is too meager. From the information that I'm getting from my colleagues, it's like there is a flat rate that is allocated to each and every ward of 2 million shillings, which to me, I felt like this one was not done very well, because how do you share 2 million Kenya shillings to each and every ward on equal terms, whereas there should be some other parameters that are supposed to be used when sharing out this money. Moreover, I'm taking myself as an example because the other day when there was some information that went out, wild information that went out that the bursaries were ready, I have about 1,200 applicants in my ward so far. Say that if you share out this amount of money, 2 million to 1,200 needy cases, that tells you that you are going to allocate each and every deserving case about 900 shillings. The big question is it worth? So it's a high time that this issue is again addressed more into the details, and then we get better allocations for the bursaries. Let me mention also, Mr. Speaker, Sam, about the agriculture. Madam Governor, in her speech, was able to mention how she was going to improve the extension services. As you are quite aware, we have the extension officers, but these are people who are actually in offices. They don't move to the field. So I join my friends with a lot of concern that these people must be compelled by being provided with the necessary infrastructure so that they can be mobile, they go to the field. Mheshimiwa Chief has just mentioned about improving the production of various crops. But then the big question that we have is, how do we improve these crops even before some very necessary steps are taken? Look, for instance, you cannot do agriculture unless you know the potential that the soil has. Has the soil testing been done? Has sampling has it been done? These are some of the issues that are supposed to be addressed Mr. Speaker, sir. Lastly, let me mention something on AI services. I would also have proposed that the artificial insemination services be reconsidered in our county. If we want to improve milk production, then we have to start from this humble beginning, this humble start, by identifying and providing cheap, if not free, insemination services to our farmers. Finally, on fertilizer, the other day, our good government provided some cheap fertilizer that is costing about 3,500 shillings. Mr. Speaker, from the experience that I've actually gathered from the people from my ward, accessing this fertilizer is actually very hard because you have to go through some proxies. By the end, you get one. By the end of the day, you may end up getting a bag of fertilizer having spent another 500 extra shillings. I want to also recommend that these fertilizers be allocated to each and every ward in our county. Some stores be set aside and proper mechanisms be established so that it can be easily accessed by the farmers. And this one is going to help us so much. And finally, Mr. Speaker, sir, let me also mention on the issue of on education, the establishment of the feeding programs. Now, my big question is, which one should come first? The feeding, the infrastructure, the training? I want to recommend that if possible, we have a teacher in each and every school. And again, considering the ratio of the teacher to the children, the number of children. And then it should be followed by the proper housing, proper classrooms, which should actually be, it should be done as soon as possible. And possibly lastly now, not really lastly, these things should come together. If possible, a lot of allocations of money should be actually looked into. And according to me, more allocations should actually be given to basic education and vocational training centers rather than doing the work of the national government on the higher education. These issues on the bursaries, if it were possible, according to me, should actually be reverted back to the national government so that we can deal with the nursery schools and we deal with the vocational training centers. So thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Mheshimiwa, thank you. Mheshimiwa Isabella, then Mheshimiwa Evelyn.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this opportunity. I'm Isabella Makori, a servant of Subukia people. I listened keenly to Her High Excellency, our Governor Susan Kihika. She was so passionate about water. In fact, as a mother, water is a very big basic necessity, and you cannot do without water. Our mothers are moving many kilometers looking for water, and our animals also are starving. You can imagine a woman walking for 5 kilometers only for one mutungi of water. Is it going to be used in washing, cooking, drinking, or for our animals? So if we have dams and boreholes, our people will be in a better position and have at least sweet life. Our people were dug water panels, but they were not provided with paper linings. So they are doing more harm than good. So the issue of water, how I pray it will be a reality. On health, Mr. Speaker, sir, our governor talked of improving our health centers to be level 4. There is no nation can be wealthy without health. 3 weeks back, in our praise, we lost a mother who was referred to Mairikumi. On her way, she lost her life. It is very painful to lose a mother when trying to bring life in this world. You get even x-rays, they are referred. Minor surgeries are referred. How I wish our health centers can be improved. Our people does not have even drugs. Our health centers has become like consultation place where they are diagnosed and they are given a small paper written drugs, go and buy. How I wish our health sector can be improved. On agriculture, she talked on value addition. In fact, agriculture is the backbone of our county. It is very sad. This time, our county also is starving. Our people are even given relief food. If we can really bank on agriculture, our county will be the one to assist other counties. In value addition, you get this time we are on harvesting season. Our farmers will sell maize on a very low price, and later we'll be buying flour on a very high cost. How I wish we can get some industries to value addition. We add value on our products, e.g. milk. You sell 1 liter of milk at a very cheap price, but you buy yogurt in a very expensive price. So how I wish we can have some industries. We have been providing our farmers with avocado seedlings, and in the future, how I wish it cannot be like quails. So if we can have an industry to value add our products, in fact, Nakuru will be ahead. She talked of internship program. In fact, our youth has no jobs. After school, if they are given opportunity of internship, in fact, it will motivate them and it will support them on their upkeep. She talked on sport and arts fund, and that is on page 9E. She said that create a sports and arts fund for managing and nurturing county sport, talents and art culture and recreation. Our youths usually enjoy sports during campaigns time. Everybody have a tournament at that time. Then it fades till another campaign. How I wish that fund can be in place. Also, she talked of ICT, to improve ICT for opportunities in Nigeria Digital, for our youth to have online jobs. During campaign, we were telling our youth that we'll provide jobs for them. In fact, it is dreaming in a way. How I wish we can bank on ICT for them to have self-employment. There are youths who are doing very well due to online jobs. How I wish all these message and statement can come to a reality. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you. Mheshimiwa Evelyn.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for the chance I've been given to support the to support and surely salute the speech of Her Excellency, Madam Governor. Mr. Speaker, on page 6, Madam Governor talked about the safety of the vulnerable groups, vulnerabilities of our special interest groups, which include elderly, people with disabilities, women, and youth. Mr. Speaker, sir, on part C, let me start with part C, which she talks about facilitating faster registration of people with disabilities and increase efficiency in implementation of county PWD fund. Mr. Speaker, sir, on 31st of October, Mr. Speaker, I happened to have attended one of the to have attended the registration of people with disabilities at the PGH hospital. Mr. Speaker, sir, it was so sad. I came out there sad, Mr. Speaker, sir, simply because the communication from the office about the type of disability that was being attended that day, Mr. Speaker, was wrong. People actually came all the way from Solai, which is very far, Mr. Speaker, sir. I really wish that next time when these people are being registered, Mr. Speaker, sir, they be communicated well, Mr. Speaker, sir, such that if people living with disability, that is mental disability, Mr. Speaker, sir, are being attended to, Mr. Speaker, sir, it should be communicated well so that people who are physically challenged may not waste their time, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, I was also praying that one day we as a county, Mr. Speaker, sir, reach an extent whereby we are going to look for these people, Mr. Speaker, sir, wherever they are. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is very sad it is very expensive, Mr. Speaker, sir, to transfer someone who is moving with a wheelchair, Mr. Speaker, sir, from the village, Mr. Speaker, sir, to a place where the doctor is, Mr. Speaker, sir. I really request that next time the doctors or the people who are supposed to do that work, Mr. Speaker, sir, should be facilitated so that they can travel from village to village, Mr. Speaker, sir. Number two, Mr. Speaker, sir, we have on the speech, Mr. Speaker, sir, Madam Governor also recognized or touched about the gender-based violence, Mr. Speaker, sir, rescue and rehabilitation centers. Mr. Speaker, sir, we have always known, or it is well known to all members, Mr. Speaker, sir, that the gender-based violence happening in our communities, Mr. Speaker, sir, sometimes it is hard to notice or to see and surely worked on it, Mr. Speaker, sir. I really request that these centers may be opened in all the wards, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am also a youth, Mr. Speaker, sir, and we have Madam Governor talked about the entrepreneurship, Mr. Speaker, sir. It was sad, Mr. Speaker, sir, that last internship, Mr. Speaker, sir, there are some colleagues of mine, Mr. Speaker, sir, who were not paid by the county, Mr. Speaker, sir. I don't know what really happened. Mr. Speaker, sir, again, I would like to touch on this,
Mheshimiwa Evelyn.
Yes, sir.
Maybe they used to work for the internship program, or how now, in what circumstances were they not paid?
Mr. Speaker, sir, a friend of mine happened to call me who was working with the internship from the Department of Veterinary, that she never received the payment, that there was she was going through the internship with the Department of Veterinary.
Okay, thank you. Possibly after this, you may want to raise the issue in committee level at the labor.
Okay,
Then
Mr.
for follow-up.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, I stand to be corrected. Mr. Speaker, sir, there was also kindly kidogo.
You still need more time, or?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir.
You found your track? Or maybe you may want to continue the debate in the afternoon?
Okay, let me continue. Let me look for what I was looking for, then I'll continue in the afternoon. Thank you for the chance.
Yes, there is the Honorable Majority Leader, and so that now I put it into perspective, we'll be having the Honorable Majority Leader, then Mheshimiwa John Maritim from Kamara, then Mheshimiwa Nene from Elementaita, and then the last person in this plenary to debate will be Mheshimiwa Anthony Kanyere Ngeru. And then the other members who were abstaining, you will be able to be the first members in the afternoon session to get some time to submit your debate points. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I also rise to give my contribution on the speech that was given to this House by Her Excellency the Governor. May I first start by saying, Mr. Speaker, as most of our colleagues have alluded, this speech was actually well thought. It is a speech that has a good direction. It is simple, very practical. It is something that is very implementable. And I take this chance, Mr. Speaker, to congratulate Her Excellency, the Governor, for being visionary and bring to this House a roadmap that is going to guide us. I actually say that if we as a House, together with the Executive, can be able to implement at least even 60% of the recommendation and the roadmap that has been given in this speech, surely Nakuru as a county will be a benchmark, or even for other counties to be able to look at and be able to follow. Mr. Speaker, sir, I would want to touch on maybe one or two major issues of among the many the good things that have been said in this particular speech. I saw, of course, I touched on what touches us as Nakuru, basically the agriculture part of it, that is one. Not on health. On the part of agriculture, Mr. Speaker, recently, and about a week or so ago, we've been out trying to give food to some of the areas in Naivasha, within Rongai, Gilgil, some of these other few places. Of course, Nakuru is a hub of food for this country as a whole. This was a bit good, and that is the proposal by our governor. We should, Mr. Speaker, be able to implement some of that, move ourselves from the harassment of our people within Nakuru, being an agricultural land with the good rainfall, with the people whose income is not that high, being part of those counties. When the reliefs are sorted, we also become a party and part of it. Of course, we are happy for the policy and for the immediate help that came, but from the agricultural point of view, we should actually enhance some policies that are going to help us as a county not to fall into the precedent that seems to be happening of being one of the counties that will be sorting out for reliefs. And Mr. Speaker, the upgrading of Nakuru into a city should actually be helpful, because when we compare with other cities, talk of Kisumu, talk of Nairobi being a city, it's agricultural land. And I'm looking forward to a time when this House is going to set policies that are going to protect our agricultural land. Because of late, Mr. Speaker, we find the good agricultural lands that have been within a within not so far from the towns are actually being sold, and they are being subdivided into very small portions. Others are being used for industrialization, and we are actually losing those good lands to provide for agricultural purposes and to give us full security. So maybe in the near future, recommend to have policies of setting some agricultural land for those who want to sell the land, so that it is at a manageable amount, so that agriculture can continue being actually protected we end up produce. Mr. Speaker, sir, I would want to also thank the governor for the use of employment. As we have actually mentioned, we have they are learned, educated, and they don't have job opportunities. So the network that I saw in the governor's speech will be great to the youths of this Nakuru County, so that they're able to network maybe with other places where work may be available within the counties, within the other counties, within the other states, because these youths have the network to be able to access the job opportunities in the other places. So with the networking out to Nakuru, we are able to get some employment. On issues of infrastructure, I also applaud the 200 kilometers tarmac road. I happen to be a victim because I come from a ward which does not have a square inch of a kilometer of a road that is actually tarmac. So I believe that during the time of trying to demarcate, be able to apportion the 200 kilometers road, unless the privilege will also be able to access this particular road. To end my contribution on touching on an issue that usually touches my heart, the issue of health, Mr. Speaker. The spirit of UHC, that is the universal health coverage. We are aware, and the governor has ably touched it in her speech, about as ordinary Kenyans be able to get health that is accessible at any given time. It should be health that is of good quality, and it should also be available and very much affordable to our Kenyans. This one touches my heart when I remember our level 5 hospital, which is the Provincial General Hospital. And Mr. Speaker, sir, we talk about putting policies, employing workers, and issues like that. Level 5 hospital is in a pathetic state, Mr. Speaker, sir. I say so not because we don't have the infrastructure or we don't even have the machines, but the kind of service that the ordinary mwananchi is receiving in PGH now and in most of other hospitals is not the type of services, the health services that we would want. The medical personnel seems to have lost a bit of the medical ethics because health and saving life is no longer a priority. What is a priority? We talk about the money that we're able to collect. We are talking about adding new machines and few things. I've been there even of late, very recently, Mr. Speaker, sir, where patients, if you don't know anybody, or if you are a nobody, you are gauged by the way you dress and the way you are wheeled towards our Provincial General Hospital. And when you go there, when you are a nobody, you are left there for dead. People don't care. The nurses there are not there to receive you. Nobody is there to listen to your problem. I know of some other cases, Mr. Speaker, sir, where a patient, even who has come from a road accident, is being chased away because this patient cannot afford even the 3,000 only to be able to be taken for a scan, Mr. Speaker, sir. So I think something needs to be done in line with what our governor has actually said to improve in terms of either the retraining or in terms of motivation of the health workers or even reprimanding, so that people should be able to prioritize the health of a living being, not to look at the way you are dressed, not to look at the way you are being brought or how you came or who you know. Because for you to be attended, you must know somebody, or you must reach there, identify yourself for our Wanjiko to be able to be identified. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, on the same issues of upgrading of our health centers, it's not enough to complete these structures. It is not enough just to say let us upgrade, because upgrading a hospital to a certain level comes with a lot of huge financial constraint. It comes with a bigger budget, where in terms of staffing, you have to have so number of staff, you have to have number of consultants and issues like that. But I think in those hospitals, especially the ones that we have in our various sub-counties, I've had a privilege of visiting, ideally from where I was previously, most of the hospitals within the Nakuru County. And the need is a bit down, Speaker. So for us to be able to support and have a county that is healthy, we should be able to think so much in terms of the leadership of our various hospitals. And in terms also of the type of staffs that we are going to hire, it's not just enough to say, let us hire more doctors, more nurses, more clinical officers. What is the quality of, in terms of service delivery of these people that we have? How are they handling our people? And we also have to go deeper and find out what is this that is demotivating them, so that they don't have that heart of looking at an emergency as an emergency, so that we're able to have a Nakuru County that is going to be healthy. Mr. Speaker, sir, I would wish to end my contribution by actually thanking Her Excellency the Governor. And I have seen many things also that she mentioned as a lot of governance issue. That we as a House, we also have a duty and a mandate to be able to assist in bringing up policies and laws, setting rules and laws that should be able to energize the energy that has come with this particular speech, so that it is given into life and be able to be operationalized by actually the policies that we are going to make in this House. Having have contributed that, Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to really, really congratulate and support our governor's speech. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you. The Leader of Majority Party, Mheshimiwa John Maritim.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving us this chance. I also want to congratulate our governor, Madam Governor, on her speech. One thing about more of it is agriculture. Majority us, like Nakuru County is a agricultural hub area, and she talks more of the crops of, or no, improving the agricultural crops. So I wanted to talk more of the AI services that in Nakuru County we need to have a bit of. The AI services should be free for us to have a lot of milk. Why am I saying so? Because I am a farmer of animals and I do keep livestock. The bulls that we have nowadays, they have low libido. They're just there. So if their services can be made free, it'd be very great. The second thing, we're talking more of cash crops in Nakuru County. We have some cash crops. A place like Kuresoi North, they grow tea. Kuresoi South, they grow also tea. And this tea is also processed in Kericho County. If Madam Governor will intervene, they can talk with KTDA people, say that we can do that. We can do our tea in Nakuru and give it a name, the brand Nakuru. I believe it can talk well. Another thing about what Madam Governor talk of it is about the land caveat. This caveat, we have it in Njoro, Molo, Kuresoi North, and Kuresoi South. They usually say caveat emptor, buyer beware. I believe for us to get, those people, they cannot access any loans due to the reasons that they don't have title deeds. I believe they should can be sorted out. In that, people should be identified. They know these people need to be given those title deeds. Somebody ever stayed in the land like a period of 20 years, no title deed, it's just there. Their kins there. And long as a person comes from nowhere, that person is evacuated. So if the issue of title deeds is sorted out, it will be okay. On the revenue collection streams, I saw it also, Madam Governor talked more of it. And I saw on revenue collection stream that we can be collecting a lot of money, but where is this money going? I believe if the loopholes can be identified, a system made, and we got people who are great at doing it, we can get more money and more development will come to our county. Lastly is the issue of what Madam Governor talked of it, is the issue of education and ECD food. On education, I believe the ECD, the feeding program, it can be a bit tricky, but as a house, I believe we need to sit down again and see how can we get this food. Now, it's also a good product. When people are given food at school, it encourages more people to go to school. And when people more go to school, the area goes well. So I believe if the governor can go well with this, I believe everything will be okay. And also in education, there's a certain facility called Linda Mama. A patient of, say, Mile Hospital dispensary can be served at Mile dispensary, but we wonder where that's money going to. Because like Linda Mama, I believe that card contains almost 50,000. but a patient can be served in a given place, but I don't know the way the money goes. So we need to check whether we know that, say that if a given area, like Maela can have 10 mamas. If they can talk of telling the mamas, patients there, that's equivalent to almost 500,000. If that money is left at that given hospital of that dispensary, it can do great job. So I believe the issue of that the mama should be followed. We ascertain where this money going to. Finally, on the issue of water, we need to have a lot of water. We talk of Vitare Dam. Vitare Dam is in Kuresoi North. It had employed a lot of many people, and I believe it can be revived. It can be one of the best water catchment area, and a lot of water will be there. Thank you, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa John Maritim. Mheshimiwa Nene from Elementaita.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. My name is Honorable George Nene, representing Elementaita Ward. And I want to start by saying that the governor's speech was recommendable. Yesterday, I visited Gilgil Sub-County Hospital with the colleagues from Gilgil constituency, with the board members. And I realized that the facility is run by the FIF fund that is used to pay most of the workers. They have used the FIF fund to even purchase some of the medical equipment. And therefore the move by the governor to prioritize transparency and accountability of the FIF fund is actually recommendable. However, the facility is also facing several challenges, and one being the challenge of staff. We realize that despite the fact that it is a sub-county hospital, the staffs are very few. The medical superintendent told us that they need around 180 nurses, but they have around 80 nurses at the facility. And therefore, the issue of staff is an issue that is very pertinent, and I have to be looked with a lot of seriousness. Another challenge is a challenge to do with financing the facility. And we have a very big department, the psychiatric department in the facility. And you realize that the facility is using the FIF fund to fund the facility, but you realize that the fact that the department is very big, the hospital cannot be able to run the department. And therefore, the move by the governor to partner and collaborate with the relevant stakeholders to ensure that we have external resources to run such department is actually recommendable. Another sector that is very critical is the water sector. I come from an area that receives little rainfall, especially on the months of January, February, and March. You realize that, for example, in the Elementaita ward, we have several boreholes that are not operational because the pumping machines that were purchased there before are not operational. And therefore, I am looking forward to the day when the issue of water will be well looked into to ensure that the people have enough and clean water for use. Another sector that is also very important, in Elementaita, we are facing a titering challenge. And this is a challenge that has several times brought a lot of chaos. And therefore, the move by the governor to collaborate with the national government to ensure that the land titering is looked into is actually recommendable. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. And I want to conclude that the governor's speech is actually recommendable, and it is something that is implementable and will make sure that Nakuru County moves to another level. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mheshimiwa Anthony.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. My name is Anthony Kamau, representing the great people of Nakuru East Ward. Let me take this opportunity first and foremost to make my maiden speech, to thank God for giving me this chance to serve my people, and also to thank the people of Nakuru East Ward to giving me a chance to be their servant. Coming back to the motion of supporting the speech by our governor, I would like to say that this speech touches a lot of things, and I can say it is like a blueprint for us. For the next 5 years, we have something to do, going by what has been highlighted in the speech. To start with, in my area, what was important that I took from the speech is about water. My area, especially the lower part of my ward, Nakuru East Ward, Mzee Wanyama area, they lack water. The people of Nakuru East Ward have been left to the mercy of private entities and private business people who are supplying them with salty water driven from the boreholes. So mine is to thank the governor for saying that water will be her priority. And as a house, I'd like to urge fellow members to give this issue of water a priority and to factor it in our consecutive budget so that we can address the issue once and for all. Another issue is about the Matatu terminus being in the city and coming from Nakuru Town East constituency. We have an issue currently with the Matatu terminus, and I would like to thank the national government in collaboration with the county government for coming up with a terminus at Ziwani area in Biashara Ward. And to say that in our area, especially the town, we have existing terminals which were, when the previous government were there, the matatus were taken away from town, and we have existing infrastructure in terms of matatu terminals which are not being used and which are not being utilized. Currently, as Nakuru Town East constituency, we are having a crisis whereby many businesses that were being operated in those matatu terminals, most of them has been closed. And in fact, it is a serious issue, Mr. Speaker, sir, because a lot of business people, if they have not been, thank you. If they have not been subjected into child lockers and most of their properties taken because of their loans, this is a serious issue because most of the business were closed. So I liked this house to put this matter of matatu terminals, especially in Nakuru town, as a matter of priority. Also, in the matter of ECD teachers, Madam Governor highlighted on the issue of employment of teachers. I would like to echo this in that you find most of our public schools, especially ECDs, they are not attractive to parents. Most of our parents take their children to private ECDs, and we can help this issue by providing an environment whereby teachers are going to be given a good salaries and good environment to play their businesses so that we can keep our children into the public ECDs, and also to provide the feeding program in our ECDs to address the issue of hunger and famine, because people may misread that we are coming from town or Nakuru. As a county, we are plenty in food, but if you go deeper into our areas, you find some areas affected with lack of food. So this issue of providing feeding program to our ECD teachers, it is a matter which we are going to support and give it a priority. In the issue of land titling, I would like to support this issue of digitizing the land titling, because in my area we have an issue whereby you find most of our people have double allocation of land. You find an area where somebody has a title, and we can have 3 titles in one parcel of land, and that has been a crisis in my area. So I support this issue of land titling, digitizing the land titling. Because I'm the last one, I don't want to labor my fellow members. I would like to end by saying on the issue of bursary consolidation, it was a good thought idea by the governor, and currently, Mr. Speaker, sir, our parents and our children, most of them have been sent home for lack of school fees. So I would like to urge the members of this honorable house, when this matter comes on the floor of the house, let expedite this so that we can have bursary issuance being given a priority and address the issue of bursary. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this opportunity to contribute, and I support the speech of our governor. Thank you.
Thank you, honorable members. In view of time, we adjourn this debate to today 2:30 p.m. because our morning session is coming to an end. It's just about 12:30. And so the members will be able to debate and even to give their views, their submissions, their input. You'll be able to find that opportunity in the afternoon from 2:30 in the debate for Her Excellency the Governor address. Next order.
Mr. Speaker, sir, those are the orders of the morning session.
The House stands adjourned until 2:30 p.m. this afternoon.